Hello and welcome to 15 on Friday. Today's topic is going to be the marketing technology stack. A marketing tech stack is the entire collection of tools that a marketer uses to analyze, manage, optimize, and conduct all of his marketing activities. It's important when you're running a business to have a solid foundation of tools that you can use to perform these operations. Without them, you really don't know where you're going or how you're going to get there. But it's important not to go into it willy-nilly as well. You want to start out first with a good strategy. Tools are no replacement for strategy when it comes to marketing or really any other part of running a business. Starting out with strategy means that you need to have a marketing professional on your team, or you need to be working with a marketing consultant if that's not your forte, so that you put together a collection of tools that help you execute that strategy. It's very easy for startups and small businesses to come up with a good idea for how to reach customers this way or that way, and they hear about one particular software as a service platform, or they hear about one type of software that helps them do one specific thing, and they jump on it and they adopt it, and they really haven't thought long term, how does this integrate with the rest of my business operations? How does this help me execute long-term goals for marketing? They don't do that, and it gets into a sticky situation quite frequently. Because what happens is you can end up digging yourself a hole where you're trapped in specific tools that don't share information. The information isn't integrated between the different systems that you try to use, and that causes not only a lot of room for error in marketing operations, but it also stops you from being as efficient as you can be. You end up having to do lots of double entry, lots of double work when you don't need to. Sometimes it means you're missing out on important insights. All of this has got to start with strategy. You need to know what you want to achieve on several levels. How do you want to communicate with your customers or your members? How do you want to be able to publish content? How do you want to make it possible for other members of your team to manage the content that you post, whether it's on social media or on your website or on other outlets? How do you want to handle your digital advertising campaigns? How do you want to analyze the performance of those campaigns and the performance of your websites and other media outlets? All of those things need to be taken into account when you're building your marketing technology stack. Some pretty typical areas of marketing technology are these that you see here. Probably the number one that any startup or small business, or really any company of any size, should be looking at is their CRM, that's customer relationship management. That system can be the lifeblood of your marketing and sales operations. It manages the entire relationship in terms of communication that you have with your customers and also with your leads, and streamlines your sales operation. A good CRM system is going to give you the ability to get a complete overview of your relationship with any customer, with any potential client, with any sales lead, and you should be able to look at that and see an entire history of that relationship. Not all CRM systems are created equally. Of course, if you've been in business for a while, you've probably heard of Salesforce. Salesforce is a software as a service platform that is very popular. It is a very robust system. It's also pretty pricey. When you're starting out in business, you may not realize, because of the way their pricing structure is set up, how much that could end up costing you to use a software as a service platform like Salesforce and others to manage your customer relationships. It starts out where you think that the entry-level price is not that bad, but it's based on the number of clients and the number of users you have. The number of tools and features that they offer you are limited until you start spending more money. By the time you get to the point where you actually have real volume of customers and leads, and you're really getting your operation underway, a lot of times you can find out that these software as a service things keep pounding you for more money, or create cost-related impediments to you really flexing your CRM muscles. Not saying it's a bad idea to go with services like Salesforce, but you need to have a strategy and know what you want your business to be doing long term before you can make decisions like that. There are lots of integrated CRM systems available that you can host on your own web servers, that you can have a web developer put together for you, or a marketing consultant. Some of them are open source, which means that the software and licensing itself is actually free. Then you really just need a professional to help you set it up correctly to use. Some of them are software packages that you have to pay for, but that you have no limitations on the features and benefits that the software has based on the amount of money you spend. Depending on your business model, any one of those might be the right solution. But that's important to think about. CRM is one of the big ones. Of course, email marketing and automation is next. It definitely goes hand in hand with CRM. And a lot of the best CRM tools, whether it's a hosted service like Salesforce and others, or whether it's a software application that you host yourself, a lot of them incorporate some form of email marketing and automation. I will say that most of them don't have all of the tools that you might want to be able to take advantage of if you're really going to take email marketing and marketing automation seriously. And what I mean by marketing automation is that if somebody visits your website and fills out a form to subscribe to a newsletter, you should be tracking that user, how often they come back to your site. If they haven't clicked on a link in one of your weekly emails to your subscribers, if one subscriber hasn't clicked on a link after a couple of emails, you want to be able to automate in an automated way, break those out into a different list where the email might get resent to them after a couple of weeks. Or if they haven't visited your website in a while, that they automatically get a reminder email to come back to your page. These things can be automated so that you don't have to be doing the manual work of breaking out those lists each time you want to send a message to warm up an audience that's sort of gone cold. So there are email marketing and automation platforms that, again, are offered as software as a service platforms like Constant Contact and Sendinblue and MailChimp, and they're very good. They're very robust, but again, pricing does become an issue when you get to larger and larger list sizes. There are actually platforms you can host yourself as well. Email marketing is one you want to be very careful about the software that you choose to use, especially if you're not going to use a big service like Constant Contact or MailChimp or something like that. The reason being that managing unsubscribe and spam flagging and things like that, you either need to really know what you're doing or have someone on your team that really knows what they're doing if you want to manage that on your own servers, or you want to leave it up to, in my opinion, you want to leave it up to a software as a service platform. I certainly do use my own hosted email marketing software, which is open source, for my own uses, and I've implemented it for clients as well. There are definitely times when it makes a lot of sense, especially because it can be much less expensive to use long term. But you definitely want to be very careful about what system you choose and whether it's a software as a service platform or whether it's something you host on your own. Content management, you may have heard of the acronym CMS. It can relate specifically to managing the content you publish to your website, but it can also relate to managing the content you publish to social media with tools like Hootsuite and similar tools like that. With content management, the big one, of course, is WordPress. Everybody knows WordPress. It's sort of been designed to be very user-friendly for the non-tech savvy. It's also pretty clunky and requires you to purchase and maintain lots of plugins in order to have all the functionality you want. When you really analyze the amount of money it's costing you long term to maintain a truly robust WordPress site, you might find out that it's actually less expensive to have a web developer build you something on another content management system that doesn't utilize a bunch of plugins that require 6-month or annual licensing fees. There's a lot of options out there besides WordPress. WordPress is not bad. I do a lot of WordPress development for my clients all over the country, sites of various sizes. It is a good option, but there are many, many others. So content management is another key part of the marketing tech stack, and again, it's one that you want to do the research or have the right person on your team or a consultant who can help you find the right solution, the one that makes sense for you and your team and how you intend to use it. E-commerce and point of sale. This is one that actually gets lost in the discussion of marketing technology stacks all the time because people think of it as sales, and unfortunately a lot of business people think of sales as somehow different. They're not different. If you think about the 4 Ps of marketing: product, price, place, promotion. Product, price, and place are all e-commerce. It's where the sales happen. It's what it's how you handle pricing. It's how how you manage your product database. All of that gets into e-commerce, and there are, again, software as a service platforms like Shopify. There are also many, many excellent e-commerce platforms you can host directly. Moving on to analytics, of course, Google Analytics is the big one, but Adobe is another huge player for larger companies that have bigger budgets. There are other types of analytics programs as well. These are used to measure and report on the activity that happens on your website, in your social media, in your emails, figuring out how your customers engage or don't engage with your content and with your communications. It's very important, and there are lots of good solutions out there. Business intelligence is in many ways overlapping with analytics. It's analyzing the data that you collect as a regular part of your business routine. There are lots of insights within that data that can help you streamline your operations, become more profitable, maybe identify new market segments that you weren't aware that you really already had access to. Business intelligence is a big one. And I will say that many of these categories often overlap. As I mentioned, most CRM systems have some form of email marketing. Some email marketing platforms have some element of customer relationship management in them as well. These things go back and forth. Of course, e-commerce is on one level also a content management system specifically for products. So there are lots of overlaps on these things, and again, that's why it's so important to have a strategy and figure out how you're going to use these systems to execute your strategy successfully. Optimization, again, overlaps with analytics a lot. It's how do you improve the performance of your website, of your e-commerce systems, all of your other platforms. How do you make them more successful? Not only by increasing page speed and load times and things like that, but how do you optimize a site to get the most engagement out of your visitors? And engagement is key across every area of marketing. You want to have some kind of communication passing back and forth between you and your potential customers and your existing customers. Google has this a service called Optimize. There are others out there as well that can analyze your page speed, load times, and see what your bounce rates are. You can use analytics to track how far down each page of your website a visitor scrolls, so you know whether or not they're even getting to the message that you really want them to see. All of those kinds of tools are very important for making your marketing activities more efficient. And then there's productivity. Productivity is really important because we're talking about managing your marketing activities. That's using all of these other systems to perform individual tasks, to perform individual projects. You've got to have some kind of system that tracks the order and timing of all of those activities. There are lots of different ways to do that, and a lot of it depends on what kind of project management methodology you want to use, but certainly Trello has been a big service for using Kanban type boards to manage common routine operations. But there are lots out there. You do want to have some sort of system to track all of the activities within your marketing program so that at any given time you should be able to know where things stand with your social media marketing, where things stand with your search engine optimization, where things stand with your digital ad campaigns, from writing and creating the ads to setting the budgets to actually publishing them on the various digital ad platforms. All of these things, email marketing, content development, you need a productivity tool that can help you manage and collaborate with your team to make sure that your activities are all happening when they need to and how they need to. There are many other categories, and again, a lot of them do actually overlap. It takes a lot to get your head around all of these things, and there are no hard and fast rules, but as with anything you do in business, you shouldn't just jump into it blindly. You need to make informed decisions, and that often means talking to a marketing consultant or getting the right member of your team who understands all of the information systems and all the marketing data that you collect from your various tools. And then again, from the beginning, creating a good strategy, and then pulling together the tools that will actually help you execute that strategy. Because if you do it the other way around, you end up executing the only strategy you can with the tools you've dug yourself into. And that's always a recipe for disaster. This was a real quick overview. Of course, that's the way 15 on Friday works, of the marketing technology stack. There's a lot more that goes into all of it, and probably in future videos we'll discuss specific platforms that I like and look at their strengths and weaknesses and how you can incorporate them into your marketing activities as well. This has been a good 15 on Friday, guys. I hope you enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you again soon.